would like to thank Ambassador McDougall and the Mission of Canada, my country, for sponsoring this event here at the United Nations, as they have graciously done for so many years, going back almost to the beginning in 2009. It means so much for the human rights defenders who are here, the opposition leaders who are here, the President-elect, to be invited and have their voice heard here at the United Nations. Thank you. My organization, United Nations Watch, is proud to co-sponsor the Geneva Summit for Human Rights and Democracy, a cross-regional coalition of 30 human rights organizations, which has decided this year to present its Defender of Freedom Award to my teacher, Professor Irwin Cotler, the international human rights lawyer, legal scholar, former Canadian Justice Minister and Attorney General, and nominee for next year's Nobel Peace Prize, for his outstanding and devoted advocacy for political prisoners and dissidents worldwide. Earning an international reputation as counsel for the oppressed, Professor Cotler has been targeted by various regimes for his defense of prisoners of conscience around the world. His many clients have included dissidents who have been speakers and are speakers of the Geneva Summit and Courage Award recipients, including Russian opposition politician Vladimir Kara-Murza, who recently got out of prison, who fittingly will be presenting the award at the main event tomorrow. Following a distinguished career as a McGill University law professor, where I was his student, he is recognized as an eminent scholar of international law and human rights law. He served for many years as a prominent and energetic member of Canada's Parliament, where he would often bring political prisoners, their family members, activists to the Parliament, and as Canada's Minister of Justice and Attorney General. Today, he heads the Raoul Wallenberg Centre for Human Rights. A moral giant, a champion for political prisoners, Professor Cotler has dedicated his life to fighting injustice, defending the oppressed, and advancing human rights. He has tirelessly devoted his life to defending dissidents worldwide who dare to defy oppressive regimes. He has also risked his life. He was targeted decades ago by the Soviet Union and has been living for more than a year in Canada today under intense police protection, and I've seen it with my own eyes. There are numerous security agents 24 hours guarding him. According to Canadian newspapers from several months ago, the Islamic Republic of Iran had sent a hit team trying to assassinate him in Canada. Just a personal word is, as mentioned, Professor Cotler was my teacher at McGill University Law School. I took every course that he taught, and he actually asked me, when I was a student, he asked our class, asked each one of a seminar, what will you do in the future when you will be the head of a human rights organization? And at the time, it was not in my brain at all that I would be doing what I'm doing now. And I didn't know why Professor Cotler was giving us this odd assignment, but he planted a seed. So I'm grateful to everything that he's done for me and for the Geneva Summit. Everything that I do at UN Watch for Human Rights has been inspired and guided by Professor Cotler, particularly his work to bring human rights activists like those who are here today. He has been a pillar of the Geneva Summit, coming to every one of our events. Sadly, as Brandon mentioned, due to security and health reasons, he can't join us this year, but he was at every event. And not only is he a speaker, because we've had many speakers, but he's a listener. He sits there every year with a pad taking notes at every single speaker because he cares. So really someone who's been a father and a pillar of the Geneva Summit. So to conclude, there is no one more deserving of the Geneva Summit's Defender of Freedom Award than Professor Irwin Cotler. He could not be here in person, but he has kindly sent us the following brief video message. Please watch the screen.
A champion of justice, a voice for the voiceless. For decades, Professor Irwin Cotler has fought relentlessly for those silenced by oppression. Inspired by the heroism of Raoul Wallenberg, he has defended prisoners of conscience from Vladimir Kara-Murza to Raif Badawi, from Dawit Isaak to Wang Bingzhang and Jimmy Lai. As a lawyer, parliamentarian, and global advocate, his work has forced light into the darkest places. The Geneva Summit is proud to honor Irwin Cotler with the 2025 Defender of Freedom Award, a tireless warrior for freedom, justice, and human dignity.
May I begin by saying how moved and humbled I am by receiving this Defense of Freedom Award from the Geneva Summit, from UN Watch and its partners, with whom I've had the privilege and the pleasure of working together in common cause since the very founding of the Geneva Summit. And so I take this award as being in recognition of the common causes of the struggle for human rights and freedom all these years, and in particular, in recognition of the political prisoners who've put not only their livelihood, but their lives on the line in defense of these fundamental freedoms. These inspirational heroes and the cases and causes they represent remind us of our individual and collective responsibility to speak on behalf of those who cannot be heard, to bear witness on behalf of those who cannot testify. And so at times such as these, qui s'excuse s'accuse, that whoever remains silent indicts himself and herself. And where silence is complicity with evil, where silence is coming down on the side of the tormentors and not on the side of the tormented. And so, together with UN Watch and its partners represented here at this compelling summit, we must not only speak up and stand up, but act together in this abiding struggle for freedom, where these political prisoners represented here have transformed our history, and where now we have to be at the forefront of these torchbearers for freedom and human rights, because they represent all of us in the struggle for our common humanity, for democracy, for freedom, for human rights. Thank you.